Howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit Podcast. Jimmy back with you on this, your Texas first outdoors tip and trick of the day. We're continuing with our skills coming from the Total Deer Hunter Manual, and this is going to be skill 54. Face it, there's no October lull. You ever heard the term October lull? I hate to pour cold water on the October lull, that perennial handy excuse we hunters use to explain why buck movement seems to slow way down during the first part of the month, and to conveniently place all the blame on the deer. You know what I mean, statements like, quote, "The bucks just aren't moving now," or "They're laying low, resting up for the rut," or down here in Texas, "It's hot as hell, there's no bucks gotta be moving when it's hot as hell." But there's one little hang-up. Bucks actually move more often in October. Telemetry research conducted at Maryland's Chesapeake Farms by biologist Mark Connor recently proved that deer movement does nothing but increase as the fall progresses. In late summer, his GPS-collared bucks moved an average of 1.5 miles in a 24-hour period. By October, they'd up their travels to 2 miles a day. During the rut, they clocked 2.5 miles per day. Connor's data also shows that the timing of these movements didn't change significantly, which means the old going nocturnal excuse doesn't wash. So there's no real lull in activity, only a perceived one. Turns out the problem isn't the deer. The problem is, well, you and me. But this is good news. Bucks are still on their feet in October. You just need to start looking in the right places. So that is kind of a problem we stand hunters in Texas typically can run into a lot, is where we keep sitting in our blind hoping a buck would come out, and they just don't sometimes. That's especially the case when you've had a wet spring and the trees drop a lot of acorns. There's a lot of forbs and natural browse and things of that nature with which they can eat and not have to come to the feeders. Also, the heat does play a part in that, because you might tend to see a lot more activity at night on your cameras and whatnot. So there's truth to that, but also maybe this gives you hope that, hey, they're moving, they're just not coming out to the feeders. So you got to get out of the blind and maybe do a little stalking, and whatnot. So now, of course, sitting in the blind in October in Texas, if you have a rifle, you're probably on MLD land, and so that's cool if you have that opportunity. Otherwise, you could be in a bow blind somewhere, but you might have to get out and move around a bit. Here's a little aside on the greatest deer hunters. John James Audubon, the hunter naturalist. Though not widely celebrated as a deer hunter, Audubon, who lived 1785 to 1851, was an avid whitetail devotee, and along with Foster, a strong candidate for Cooper's real-life Natty Bumppo. Audubon's influential 1831 essay, Deer Hunting, widely read in his day and still in print 182 years later, was 1. The first serious how-to manual detailing the popular deer hunting tactics of the time, and 2. It romanticized the case for deer hunting as a noble recreation, and 3. An early argument for fair chase hunting. Audubon is America's original hunter-naturalist, who, as deer hunting historian Robert Wagner writes in his excellent Legendary Deer Slayers, studied deer to hunt them and hunted them to study them. All right, let's talk about skill 55 here. Find the hidden foods. If bucks are more active in October and yet you're not seeing them, then what gives? Most likely, the explanation is a shift in food sources. Kind of what I talked about. In late summer, early fall, deer are plain to see as they feed on grains and greens in open crop fields, meadows, pastures, and clear cuts. But in October, when acorns start raining down and soft mass favorites like apples and persimmons ripen, deer can suddenly fill up within the security of the woods, where you can't see them as readily. And given that option, they'll usually take it. So when bucks vanish from the fields and openings you've been watching, speed scout the woods to find the hidden foods. Well, exactly what I was just talking about with acorns and other foods around that time. And going along that theme here, skill 56, concentrate on cover. Another factor that makes bucks seem to disappear is the annual leaf drop. Deer seek thick cover. So what happens when the trees lose their leaves in a matter of a week? Right, the buck that felt safety covered up only days ago suddenly feels like he's wearing a hospital gown, or worse. So naturally he's going to drop any park-like woods from his walking routes and stick to the evergreens, thick brush, and dark shadows. And finally, skill 57, check the pressure. A lot of hunting seasons start in early fall, and the pressure from small game and bird hunters can cause deer to shift their patterns. There may be leaf-peeping hikers and bikers too, so let's not forget you. Let's not forget you. If you've been hunting the same stands since the start of bow season, the deer you were seeing in September may be wise to you by October. Hang a new stand, walk further back, or just get away from the roads and trails where a pressured buck won't see so many blaze orange and spandex. Well, so that goes to say, you gotta change up your strategy as the season progresses. All right, well, that, my friend, was your several Texas First Outdoor tips and tricks of the day. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I just want to remind you to head over to feedbandit.com, get on our email list. You can get a little discount on the gear that I hope y'all have taken a look at and maybe picked out a favorite or two of the shirts or the hats that we have out there. More to come. And anything you can do to help out the podcast would be grateful. At the very least, please sign up to the email list and join the new 300. I've talked about that here before, but if you haven't heard about it, it's our play on the old 300, which was Moses and Stephen F. Austin's original 300 families that they got sanctioned by Mexico to bring in to settle Texas. Well, now we need to recruit, in our minds, probably 300,000 fellow rabid Texans to help us make Texas free again. Really spread the word of independence. We need to spread like brush fire for us to create a better future in Texas. And that is separating permanently from our abusive spouse in Washington, D.C. So if you're on board, go to feedbandit.com and join the email list. We'd really appreciate it. Become one of the new 300. All right, with that, we will catch you back here on the next one. You take care. And thanks so much for listening. And adios. We'll see you.